In this video, we're going to talk about how to reverse diet after cutting. One of the biggest mistakes people make is doing a fat loss phase, doing a mini cut, and not having an exit strategy. And by that, I mean not having a plan for after that fat loss phase ends. And a reverse diet is a great strategy to take you from a calorie deficit, a fat loss phase, a mini cut, and bring you back up to maintenance so that you can pursue other goals with your health and fitness. So that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Now, for some context, I recently finished a 4-week mini cut. And if you missed any of those videos, there is a how to mini cut playlist on my channel. You can head over there and watch all of the videos that outline how to set up a mini cut for yourself, how to manage your training program, how to manage your diet, and really how to make adjustments so that you ensure you continue to make progress along the way. This video is the final episode in that series where we talk about how I transitioned out of my mini cut and how you can do the same. When my mini cut ended, I was eating 2,250 calories a day. And in my reverse diet, I progressively worked my way up to eating 2,750 calories a day without gaining any noticeable body fat along the way. In fact, I actually continued to see my weight go down as I increased calories, which is a cool thing that happens during a lot of reverse diets. It's also something that gets people a bit confused regarding what a reverse diet actually is. I think some people get confused and think a reverse diet is this magic strategy where you can eat more calories but see body fat continue to melt away. And that's not really what we're talking about. Oftentimes, when you're in a reverse diet, you will slowly increase your calories, but you'll still be in a calorie deficit. And so what happens is you continue to hit new low weigh-ins even when your calories are going up just because you haven't reached maintenance yet. You're still in a deficit. So let's dive into what a reverse diet is, and I'll help you understand how you can use it after a cut in order to have the best results possible and transition out of a cutting phase without gaining too much excess body fat. First and foremost, what is a reverse diet? It's a period of time after a fat loss phase where you slowly and progressively reintroduce calories into your diet. The goal of a reverse diet is to build more flexibility back into your nutrition. Nobody wants to be in a calorie deficit forever, nor should anybody be in a calorie deficit forever. So this is a way to bring you from that deficit back up to something much more manageable and sustainable. And part of the strategy here is to do it in a way that minimizes any fat gain that you would take on by increasing calories, and also minimize a lot of the bloat and potential digestive issues that you may run into when you add more calories back in. And the cool thing about a reverse diet is it can take you in any direction you want to go. You can reverse your diet up to maintenance and then stay at maintenance. You could reverse your diet up to maintenance and then go into a slight calorie surplus in order to build muscle. Or you could use that reverse diet to get back to maintenance for a period of time so that you can go back into a fat loss phase. Really, all options are on the table, and what I have used my reverse diet for is to actually set up a future fat loss phase. I did a 4-week mini cut and then I reversed my diet back to maintenance for about 2 months. And the plan is during the summer to get back into a more long-term fat loss phase where I can shed a bit of body fat just for the summer months. Now let's talk about how to reverse diet. First and foremost, tracking is going to be a really important aspect of your reverse diet plan. You need to know how many calories you were eating in a calorie deficit, and you probably need to know what your maintenance calories are as well so that you can figure out a way to go from point A to point B. If you're just increasing calories randomly without a target or a structure in mind, well, that could make it pretty easy for you to get into way too big of a calorie surplus and actually put on a bunch of body fat. And what's great is if you need help figuring out those numbers for yourself, I have a free calorie calculator. It's linked on my channel page. You can download it for free and it'll tell you exactly how many calories, protein, carbs, and fats that you should eat based on any fitness goal. And in this case, it'll tell you both what your calorie deficit calories should be and what your maintenance calories are. Let me break down for you how I did my reverse diet. So I mentioned before I was eating 2,250 calories in my fat loss phase. Now, I know that my maintenance calories are around 2,700 to 2,800. So what I wanted to do was go from 2,250 to that 2,700, 2,800 calorie range in a progressive nature. I wanted to take steps to get there. And so what I chose to do was to take 2 steps from 2,250 to 2,750. And my first step was After the mini cut ended, for the first 2 weeks after that mini cut, I went from 2,250 calories to 2,500 calories. That's an increase of 250 calories per day. And I stayed there for 2 weeks. And after those 2 weeks were over, I did another bump in my calories from 2,500 to 2,750 calories per day. That was step number 2 to get me to maintenance. So my reverse diet lasted a full 4 weeks. But what I saw throughout that process, as I mentioned before, I hit a new low weigh-in during that process, and I didn't take on any noticeable body fat at all. My digestion was great. I didn't deal with a lot of bloating. And at the same time, I built a ton of flexibility back into my diet, so it felt like I was eating a ton more calories and my regular lifestyle got a lot more sustainable and enjoyable. Now, during this process, I took daily weigh-ins, I took waist measurements weekly, and I took progress photos to help me get a clear overall picture of how my body composition was trending. And admittedly, during this process, the scale got kind of weird at times. You introduce calories, which means more carbs or more sodium, which can cause you to retain water weight, and that's going to happen. But what's most important is that you don't get wrapped up in what the scale is saying, and you stick to the process no matter what. You'll have those fluctuations, but what you should see over time is that things normalize. You shouldn't see your weight go up day after day, week after week consistently. That should not happen. And as long as you don't overreact and make rash changes, that won't happen. For example, I saw some instances where my weight spiked up 2 full pounds from one day to the next, but I just stuck to the process, kept going with my increased calories, kept hitting my targets every day. Those water weight shifts eventually normalized and my progress, continued to track in the direction that I expected it to. All right, now let's go into a quick reverse dieting checklist to kind of compile all this information that I've been talking about together into some easily actionable steps. Number 1, first and foremost, most importantly, make sure you're tracking your calories. Know how many calories you're eating in your fat loss phase and know how many calories you're working up to at maintenance. And again, make use of that calorie calculator that is free and linked on my channel. Once you know those 2 numbers, map out 2 to 3 steps to get you from your calorie deficit up to maintenance. You can really slice this up however you want. I chose 2 steps, but you could do it in 3. You could do it in 4 if you want to. The key is just to have a structure and a game plan mapped out for yourself. And when you take those steps, make sure you're giving your body at least a full week to adjust to the increased calories before you take another. In my case, I did 2-week steps at a time. Also, while you're doing this, make sure that you continue to track what you're eating and be meticulous and intentional with your choices. It's easy to get into this mindset of, oh, I have more calories to play with, so now I can eat all of these foods that I haven't had in a while, have the dessert, have the snacks, and that can get you in trouble really quickly. It's a common mistake that people make, and I want to make sure that you avoid that by continuing to be detailed. And continue monitoring your body composition as well. You're going to want to step on the scale, obviously, but take those waist measurements, take progress pictures, capture the entire story about how your body composition is evolving throughout this process, because that's going to help make sure that you are truly realizing how this reverse diet is playing out. And then as you go from step to step, continue to increase calories based on the plan that you mapped out for yourself. And once you get to maintenance, you're at maintenance and you can decide whatever that next step is. At the end of the day, a reverse diet is a tool. It's not mandatory, but it is a strategy that I have found to be effective to transition out of a calorie deficit into that next phase of my fitness goals. And it's something that I use with my one-on-one online fitness coaching clients often when we go from a calorie deficit to a maintenance phase or a calorie surplus. And if you want to learn more about how to reverse diet after cutting, I also have a link in the description to this video that goes out to a full article on my website that breaks down this entire process step by step. So make sure you check that out. I hope you found this video helpful. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you do that before you click out of this video. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you again in the next one.